everybody! Today on the show we must ask ourselves the question of whether anyone is perfectly capable of being a perfect boyfriend or girlfriend always perfectly. So today's Ask Kristen question is coming from Kim, who wants to know, I'm almost 22 years old and for over 7 years have been dealing with something called daily chronic migraine. So about 20 days each month I have a full-blown migraine and the rest of the month just a severe headache. Time out to say, Kim, that sounds horrific. I've had a handful of migraines in my day and I would not wish them on a soul. My boyfriend of a year just broke up with me because he couldn't stand my headaches anymore. Time out. How can people with chronic pain find someone who will stick by them through their partner's pain? I want to broaden Kim's question to talk about how disability, whether that is something like chronic pain or something more congenital like cerebral palsy, relates to dating and relationships. Before I go any further, able-bodied, privileged, grain of salt alert. I'm sitting here saying all of this with a fully functioning body and I don't deal with chronic pain and my mental health is like, you know, middling to stable. So please understand that I understand that and also that I want this to be a conversation to hear directly from the other Kims out there because I don't deal with this. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's proceed. Kim's question is important for all of us to think about regardless of our individual abilities because while disability can present practical challenges in relationships as Kim has experienced, it should be an even bigger challenge to all of us that disability of any variety is culturally considered a romantic disqualifier a lot of times. And not to get too jargony, it speaks to our broader ableist culture that tends to view people with disabilities as problems rather than people. But let's say, as in Kim's case, we've gotten past that, we've gotten into a relationship, then what happens? Well, studies on chronic pain specifically in relationships has found that there tends to be a higher level of relationship stress and tension related to that disability. Studies looking at long-term couples where one partner has a chronic pain issue, the other partner doesn't, has really highlighted the importance of empathy. One tip that comes up a lot in advice on dating with disabilities is really making treatment, if your relationship is to that point, making treatment something that you are going through together, that both parties are fully invested in, fully educated, and fully understanding of the scope of whatever that disability might be, because that's only going to foster that level of empathy. It amplifies the need a lot of times for healthy communication. Disability perhaps makes it a little more challenging, if not impossible sometimes, to cop out of empathy and communication. But that also leads me to this misguided idea of what it takes to be successful in a relationship. When it comes to my relationship, I bring my own baggage into this relationship. There are days when my level of anxiety, and specifically social anxiety and stress, are overwhelming. I am always moved at how accepting he is of that and how patient he is with those kinds of things because he brings in a different kind of bag. I want to be clear that I don't consider my social anxiety equivalent at all to chronic pain and disability. It's simply an example to illustrate how our entire cultural approach to disability is so often misguided. That's also a call for us to challenge and dismantle this idea too of the intersection of love and disability being someone who looks past a disability and sees you for the person you are. I think the healthier model is someone seeing the whole 360 you. Earlier in this relationship, I tried and failed to hide parts of myself that I found unsavory or difficult or unmanageable, the things that I don't like to be in the same room with. Once you get to a certain point in a relationship, it's gonna come out and you have to confront it. I'm so grateful that Professor Fiance looked at me and saw the same things that I saw, and rather than saying, he said, okay, let's work on this. Kim, if you're watching, the first thing I would tell you as a friend is let yourself experience this breakup. Even though that guy blamed it on your migraines, you don't blame it on your migraines, because your number one priority is taking care of yourself. The next time a fella catches your eye and it heads toward dating, maybe pause to think about things like communication, empathy. Is this person gonna be a teammate? Now I want to hear from you. Do you have any experience with this intersection of disability and dating? I want to hear all about it and your tips and advice in the comments below. Let's start a conversation. And as always, ask me your questions so I can give you some answers. Thanks everybody who watched and commented on last week's Ask Cristen video. Are you a buzzkill? Devin Chubb said, it can be especially hard when you're just hanging with the guys and someone drops some sort of unintentionally degrading or sexist remark about women. I love a good male bonding session and want to be able to go out for beer with my buddies without the ingrained culture of misogyny. Don't we all, Devin Chubb? Don't we all? Miguel Claxton has excellent advice that I did not mention in that video. If someone tells a racist, sexist, homophobic, etc. joke, ask them to explain it. For example, one I heard was, what's the difference between a pizza and a Jew? Pizzas don't scream in the oven. I just asked them to keep explaining the joke until they were talking about genocide. Needless to say, the joke got less funny. This is the way I buzzkill. You know what I think about your sexism? You know what I think about your homophobia? Gotta go, just made my fake fart sound. I'm out.